stay on your side.
Yeah, you're pissed.
All
right, if you couldn't tell, I'm Italian-American. Everything I do exudes that fact, from the food that I eat, to the clothes that I wear, to the jewelry I accessorize with. I'm so Italian, in fact, I even played one on TV. That's right, I was one of AJ's schoolmates on the hit show The Sopranos. Now granted, if you blink, you'll miss it, but I can assure you I was there. I've always been so proud of my Italian heritage, mostly because I'm third-generation American and fourth-generation New Yorker. If you ask any of my fellow New York paisans, they can assure you that New York Italians have a culture of their own, and my family has always been a part of that. My father's side ran a liquor store on Grand Street in Little Italy, and my mother's side operated this shop here as a tailor shop from the 1920s onward. After 80 years, it's no longer in our name, but I'm so proud that it's still here. I'm mostly also excited that my family helped build the communities around them by being part and giving. They treated their customers as extended family members, and that is something that is so ingrained in the Italian culture. New York City is home to the largest Italian-American population in the United States. It's also home to the third largest Italian population outside of Italy, only behind Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo. Over 2.6 million Italian and Italian-Americans live in the greater New York area, and over 800,000 live in New York City alone. That makes Italian-Americans the largest ethnic group in New York City. It's no wonder you can find so much Italian culture no matter where you go. New York is home to some of the greatest Italian restaurants with authentic cooking just like Nona used to make. I'm here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, outside of Bamonte's restaurant, a place that Thrillist.com called one of the best old-school Italian red sauce joints. And if you're in New York City, make sure to come here. Since there's so many of us, you're never far from some great Italian eateries, no matter where in New York you are. Little Italy is perhaps the most widely known Italian neighborhood in New York and hosts the annual San Gennaro Feast. But there are so many other Italian areas all over the city. Just like Ozone Park and Howard Beach in Queens, there's East Harlem and Upper Manhattan, or you can go up to the Bronx by Belmont and Fordham. And of course, Staten Island, where there are over 200,000 of us. In addition to traditional Italian restaurants, there are so many shops and cafes that offer Italian culture. One such place is the bike shop / cafe Maglia Rosa in Industry City, named after the jersey the overall winner wears in the Giro d'Italia. I recently caught up with a good friend of mine who so happens to be another Italian-American from Ozone Park in Queens. I'm here at the fabulous modern Italian cafe Maglia Rosa in Industry City. Joining me is my dear friend, actor and writer, John Hernandez. John, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Justin. It's a pleasure.
John is also of Italian descent and originally from New York, just like me.
Yes, indeed.
So, John, tell me about some of your experiences about living in New York and growing up as an Italian New Yorker.
Well, the upbringing as an Italian New Yorker is, in a word, big. So it's big family, big meals, big stories from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s of what like life was for the family in New York City. Just a lot of love and a lot of food and a lot of laughs and big personalities, you know?
I think it's an understatement.
Oh, man.
So I have to ask you, in your household, was it sauce or gravy?
Gravy. 100%.
Paisan, so we get it. Now, another question I have for you, because I think this is something we could all relate to growing up Italian. What was your biggest fear as a child?
Oh man, the wooden spoon. Oh man.
Yep.
My grandmother, God rest her, was wicked with that thing. She would chase me through the house until she caught me, and she got me every single time.
I evaded that maybe, well, only once, so right there.
Yeah.
So growing up Italian, hearing these stories and your family's history, has it inspired you to visit Italy?
For sure. I haven't gotten to go out there just yet, but it's definitely on like the bucket list. And my family's from Palermo in Sicily, so I would definitely want to take a look around there. But also, being raised Catholic, not practicing, but raised as a Catholic, I would definitely want to hit Rome and check out the Vatican City and all the museums and the artwork, because it's just always been so beautiful, inspired me as a kid. So.
quite majestic, and getting to go there myself was definitely some experience, and I plan to go back whenever I can. So now, you haven't been to Italy, but you do travel all around the world. You've been places like China, South America, and all over the US. What are some things that you think of while you travel?
Well, I would say my biggest concern when I travel is definitely seat size on airplanes. For lack of a better term, when I flew internationally, it was typically for work. So I was able to go to various parts of China. I've walked on the Great Wall. I've been through the Forbidden City, but my company flew me out there business class. But when I booked my own travel domestically, I kind of have a lot of panic and trauma around flying, because I'm made to feel really ashamed for my size. So it's like, these airlines have person of size policies, and I make sure to research that meticulously, and I go to seatguru.com to check the seat sizes and widths and everything, because nothing's worse than getting on a plane and see a person's face fall when they see you're coming next to them. So I try to make it as pain-free and embarrassment-free as I can. So there's typically 3 airlines that I'll fly with domestically, because their seats are bigger and they're just kinder to people. There are airlines that will not only humiliate you, but make you buy a second seat, and that's just always a big source of panic. But I don't let it stop me by any means, because there's too much of the world in this country to see, and
Right.
I love traveling around the US to places like San Francisco, Dallas, Texas. It's all good, but that would be my one big concern when traveling.
I feel like that actually is something that is not discussed very often, and I'm really grateful for you and your candor and bringing that up. I just want to thank you for joining me and for sharing your experiences. It's always great to meet a fellow New York Italian who truly understands what it's like to grow up here and have the same customs and family heritage. So thank you, John, for coming on the show and for sharing all your stories.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. It was a great time.
Now that we've inspired you to come to New York City and experience some of its Italian treasures, let's inspire you to head to the motherland, Italy itself.
That makes me want to return to Italy so bad, but it also reminds me how many great Italian things New York has to offer, like its food. Join me next time as we go to another great New York location that will hopefully inspire you to travel somewhere new. And don't forget to check your luggage. All right, I want to get some Italian sausage.
For more information on all the destinations and businesses mentioned in this episode, please visit Vacationer.travel.